So I was filling up at the gas station the other day and didn't even bother looking at the price. No matter what the number was, I knew it was going to be high, but that I had no choice. Or did I? You see, I'm not your typical electric car customer. I tend to go for things that go a little more, and electric cars are more. Well, since I work as a content creator for OpenRoad Auto Group in the lower mainland of British Columbia, Canada, I thought I'd take the opportunity to see what it's all about with Toyota's all-new bZ4X. So I visited OpenRoad Toyota Port Moody and met up with the best delivery specialist in the business, Mao, to show me my new electric vehicle for the week. The all-new bZ4X XLE all-wheel drive with the tech package. This is the highest trim level bZ4X, and I was very curious to see how it would stand up to Canadian weather in December. Mao knows the car arguably better than Toyota does. He explained the car to me, a complete newcomer not only to electric vehicles but newer vehicles in general, in a way where I felt confident I knew the features of the car well enough before I even pulled off the dealership lot to use them like a pro. He showed me all the basics of charging the bZ4X, the trunk space with the included level 1 home charger, where the spare tire kit is located as the bZ4X does not have an onboard spare, but does come with Toyota roadside assistance. Mao went over the different ways you can open and close the trunk, how to set up and use the Toyota app and the digital key, startup and menu features, mobile phone connecting and charging, climate controls, the unique twist shifter, the bird's eye view camera since this is the top trim model, where to store your insurance papers since in place of a traditional glove box, the bZ4X has a passenger leg warmer. We went over the adaptive cruise control settings, how to have the bZ4X park itself. Literally every feature of this vehicle, Mao knows inside and out. I was nervous about all of this tech, but Mao put my mind at ease that I could operate the vehicle's features and really experience what the bZ4X has to offer. So, Mao handed me the keys to my new electric vehicle, waved me out of the dealership, and I was on my way. On my first drive in the bZ4X, I instantly felt how quick and nimble it was, as well as how everything in the vehicle felt to be of great quality. Nothing looked or felt cheap, and if anything, felt above Toyota's already great quality. But I wanted to have a better look at the styling of the bZ4X, so I set the sat-nav to Rocky Point Park in Port Moody and went to have a closer look. The exterior styling of the bZ4X is rather futuristic and reminds me of an SUV version of the new Prius, which is styled quite nicely in my opinion. Aerodynamics clearly played a big role in the styling of the bZ4X, with details like these front slits that control airflow and these rather Batmobile-like fin elements over the rear window. Being the top trim XLE all-wheel drive model with the tech package, this bZ4X comes with 20-inch wheels. Other trim levels come with 18s. I took a quick break to take in the beautiful view and then headed home. The feature I was most curious about on the bZ4X was the self-parking feature available in the XLE tech package model. I have to say, doing this for the first time very much had that trust fall sort of feel to it, but it was hard not to be impressed with this feature. Using an array of sensors around the vehicle, as well as cameras and tech wizardry, the vehicle seamlessly parks itself at the touch of a button. Doing my daily commute wasn't going to kill the battery in the amount of time I had the bZ4X. So, to get a real sense of what this vehicle is like as a daily driver that needs to be able to do more than a short commute to work and get groceries on the weekend, I needed to put some kilometers on the car. That way, I could also test out level 2 public charging. So, the next morning, I warmed up the bZ4X with the touch of a few buttons Mao showed me and charted a course for OpenRoad Toyota Abbotsford. I knew I was heading out for my first charging experience, and I have heard stories about extremely long charging times for electric vehicles. Worried about being stranded in Abbotsford for many hours, I laid down some protection for the bZ4X's brand new seats and buckled in my dog Charlie for the journey so he wouldn't be left alone for an unknown period of time. Another concern of mine with owning an electric vehicle. Highway driving is where this vehicle really shines in my opinion. It's comfortable, you sit high up off the ground like in an SUV, so visibility is great, lane changing assist is great. The approximately 50-kilometer trip from my apartment to Abbotsford drained the battery 15%. The range estimate from Toyota for the bZ4X is 367 kilometers. 15% of 367 kilometers is 55 kilometers, roughly. Factoring in things like outside temperature and individual driving styles, Toyota's range estimate is really very accurate. After arriving at OpenRoad Toyota Abbotsford, I met up with Jazz, who taught me all about level 2 charging. He showed me how easy it is to tap your card, plug in, and hurry up and wait. Plugging in at 70% charge, I got a message saying it would take about 3 hours and 20 minutes to get to a full 100% charged. Now I want to emphasize here that the charge time to 80% is significantly faster than from 80% to 100%, and on the average trip, 80% will be more than enough to get you all the way home. But the purpose of this is to get full experience, so I decided I wanted to wait all the way to full charge. Since we have some time to wait, this seems like a good time to take a closer look at the interior of the bZ4X. It has the appearance of a spaceship inside to me, very futuristic but also very tasteful. You have ample legroom whether you're sitting in the front or the back seats. Trunk space is decent enough, with some space lost to the aerodynamics of the rear windshield design, but with the seats folded down, you can definitely fit quite a bit back here. The key was also very straightforward. I knew I still had some time to kill, so I took Charlie for a walk around the lot and had a look at the great selection of vehicles. We walked around the auto mall, nearly witnessed an accident, got a coffee, then headed out to see how far along we were with charging. It was unfortunately clear it was going to take a bit longer than 3 hours and 20 minutes. Closer to 5 when it was all said and done. Good thing I brought Charlie. This is something to keep in mind if you are interested in owning one of these for sure. Only before long journeys, as 80% is more than enough charge for most trips. And if you have a location to charge at home, this would not be a concern at all, as this vehicle can fully charge overnight with a level 2 charger. When traveling on longer journeys, a stop at a level 3 DC fast charging station could be planned ahead of time. These stations are often free and can charge some EVs to 80% in about 30 minutes. That said, now fully charged up, I unplugged and returned the charger to its cradle like a gas pump, buckled Charlie back in and headed for home. Highway driving was again fantastic. Once home, I had the bZ4X park itself into the tightest spot available out in front of my building, which it handled like a breeze, and headed in to ingest the day's footage. The next morning, I awoke to see that it was raining and had been all night. This was definitely the best day I was going to get to test out X mode for snow, dirt, and mud, so I called out "Hey Toyota" to the HAL 9000 in the computer and charted a course to Minnetonka Regional Park to see what this thing felt like off the beaten path. Now, it's not like this road would be undrivable without X mode or even all-wheel drive, at least not yet because there is no snow. But the difference in grip was instantly noticeable once X mode was initiated. I also have to say here that the auto rain sensing wipers on this vehicle, another new feature to me, work great. You really don't even have to think about it. While doing the X mode test, I got to thinking. On a normal gas-powered vehicle, this kind of driving would throw water, mud, dirt, salt, and everything on the road all over everything under the car. Under this car is a battery that both needs to breathe and needs to be protected from the elements at the same time. I wonder what that looks like. So, the next morning, bright and early, I arrived at OpenRoad Toyota Port Moody and met with Christopher, Toyota Tech Extraordinaire, who put the bZ4X up on a lift so I could have a look underneath. As you can see, there's not much there. To protect the battery, everything is sealed up from the elements and made as flat as possible to aid in the aerodynamics and efficiency of the vehicle. Some competitor EVs are not designed as well as this, and as a result, can allow unwanted elements from the road into the battery compartment, compromising the battery. As you can see, not so much here. Once the bZ4X was back on the ground, I asked the lot guy to kindly run it through the car wash, and then I headed to the vehicle spinner to share my final thoughts on the bZ4X. Starting my week, I thought range anxiety was going to be the big issue, but that didn't end up being the case. Most people will only need to charge their bZ4X once every week or two with regular driving. However, for longer trips, a charge stop may be needed. Regenerative braking, which I only used a little since I only ever got down to about 43% charge, will also help regain some charge while driving. Charging times were longer than I expected, but like I said before, with a level 2 charger or level 3 DC fast charger, charging to 80%, more than enough for most journeys, is much faster than that last 20% charge from 80% to 100%. I like the styling of the bZ4X for the most part, and it is very spacious and comfortable inside. The features are easy to use. I have limited EV experience so far, but this vehicle feels much more familiar than a lot of bZ4X competitor vehicles do, and I feel like it would be an easier adjustment to make coming from a gas vehicle than with some other brands. Quality is definitely here, as well as with every Toyota vehicle. My complaints list is pretty small. I don't like the charge times. Even the fastest charging EVs are obviously not as quick at charging as fueling a gas-powered vehicle, but charging an EV is obviously much cheaper. I found the heated steering wheel, another new feature to me, way too hot. I would prefer an option that's literally half as hot as the low setting. There is no frunk or front trunk / storage compartment. bZ4X tells you when you are speeding, which is nice, but I can imagine a politician in the future suggesting the car just print you the ticket right then and there in the cabin, for your convenience, of course. But overall, the bZ4X won me over a lot more than I was expecting. With a little planning, it's definitely going to be an easy switch for most people, and like anything, once you're used to it, it will be second nature. Thank you for watching.